Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we have another guest here to speak her story on bipolarism and everything surrounding that. And today we have Nicky. Hello Nicky, how are you today?
Hi, I'm all right, thank you.
Good stuff. All right, let's just dive right into it and you know, say what you need to say and we'll hash it out and work through it together. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
So I'm not one of those that found out that they had bipolar like 20 years ago. I'm 40 years old and I found out 4 years ago.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot more to it though, because I thought just like I've got bipolar, that's it. But when I heard all the stuff that's gone on in my family and what happened to me,
Hmm.
then I went like, wow. Um, I didn't even know that it's genetic, like that you can like inherit it. Sorry, I'm German, so sometimes like my English is not really good.
No, that's perfectly fine. No worries.
So I didn't even know that you can inherit it. So my mum died when I was 7.
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
I was, that's all right. I was told that she just had a car accident and it just happened. You know, the
Okay.
normal way. When I grew up, I heard then that she had problems and that she tried to kill herself numerous times before, which I never knew. And then I heard that, yes, she did aim for the tree and that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to kill herself. So I only found that out, not long ago. Um, then I found out I had bipolar, and I'm like, wow, what actually does that mean? I don't actually what that means. What is bipolar? Like, my head is like, screwed up. I understand that. I cry a lot. I've got all these things going on in my head and in my life, but I actually never knew what it meant until I looked it up. And then all of a sudden, all these people come and they're like helping me from from all the sides, and it's like it's overwhelming. I'm kind of new to this bipolar.
Yeah, it's quite a journey, and a lot of people can vouch on that too.
Yeah, but
Thank.
but
Yeah,
but
sorry. Go ahead.
now I'm like, um, so I got abused by my brother, sexual, when I was younger, and it all literally started like 4 years ago when I told my dad. I told my dad that what my brother did. And he said to me, why are you telling me now? Like,
After all these years, right?
you're
Yeah.
nearly 40. He went like, he's got his own family now and children. Are you trying to destroy his family? And I'm like, oh my God, like, why would you say that to me?
Yeah.
And then it just all started from there. I had a breakdown. My daughter had a breakdown. And because my daughter had a breakdown, I looked more into it and I thought, wow, my mum had it, my daughter had it, it's got it,
Hmm.
and I've got it. So it is genetic.
Yeah.
There's, it is
There's
definitely in the family.
right.
But I just always thought I'm just different. I'm
Yeah.
just, I just don't know why, but I'm different. Am I different because my brother abused me? My dad doesn't like me? Am I different because my daughter's got seizures and has got asthma and all this? Like, what is going on with my life? But now, for the last 6 months, I've sought help and I've got medication and everything is like kind of working the right way. I want to help other people.
Okay. Um, so let's hash this out.
Yeah, I
You
think I
just
went everywhere,
no,
didn't I?
God, no, 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 no. That's perfectly fine, Nikki. No sweat. Just curious to know though. Up to those like the last 4 years, the 4 years was your initial diagnosing, right? But prior to all that, what was happening in your life? Like, what were you feeling? Were you depressed up until that point of diagnosis?
No,
Did you go
I
through
think
a?
my whole life I've been depressed. I mean, like my mum died when I was 7. Then my
Yeah,
nan died. My granddad died. Um, then I left Germany to move to England, and then I had a daughter, which I absolutely loved to bits, but then she had problems. It's just like everything just all of a sudden 4 years ago just all went crashing down.
right.
Like
Sorry, I just need
I
to
can't
interject for a
even
moment, Nikki.
explain.
Um,
Yeah.
we have some serious lag on your end. Are you close to your router? I'm guessing you're on your cell phone, eh?
Pardon?
There's a bit of lag. It's okay now, but it was breaking up there, so
Ned.
I could hear you, and then yeah, like lagging,
Oh,
glitching and whatnot, right?
no, I'm by myself.
No, no, no. But I meant like it was a bit of a setback. Like as we're recording, I could hear your voice, and it sounded like you're traveling under a tunnel, and then
Oh
it
no, I'm
was
in my
freezing. But
bedroom. No,
okay,
I'm in my
okay.
bedroom.
So
I'm okay.
the reception's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can
Okay,
hear you completely.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So yeah, sorry, as you were.
No, I forgot where I was.
Me too. That happens with the you know way of
So
yeah.
I yeah, so I'm new to bipolar. It's hard to tell people, you know.
Yeah,
It's
it,
hard,
it
it's
definitely
hard,
is.
it's hard to tell people there's something wrong with you. Like my friends and family, they're okay with it. My
Hmm.
dad is still like, I've told my dad obviously what happened with my brother, and he
Right.
went, yeah, why are you telling me now? Um, but my dad still doesn't, he doesn't get that there's a connection with my mother's death, with my daughter's mental health, and with my mental health. My dad is one of those people that goes, be strong. Like he was so proud of me when I moved to England, and I bought my house, I got my business, and then I lost it all, and then of I did it all over again. But he was so proud of me. My dad was so proud of me,
Right.
and it was always like I can't let my dad down. I cannot. Like I, it always feels like I have to lie to my dad to
Yeah.
make him happy because he's such a
That's
strong person.
That's unfortunate too, because that extra weight and expectation
Oh,
sitting
it's
on your
so
shoulders would
hard.
just
It
suppress
is
things even
so
further,
hard,
right?
honest to God. Like,
Yeah.
my dad grew up like, like he had no parents at all, and he grew up in a home, and in a home for an 8-year-old that is 80
Oh
right
wow.
now, it's
Right.
like he got passed on and passed on to all these families. But he's such a strong person, and he's got his own business, and he's got lots of flats in Germany, and he's got his own house, and he's like, he wants all that for us.
Hmm.
So I lie to him a lot,
That's
just to,
unfortunate.
just
Um,
to keep him
yeah,
happy, to
keep the
be
peace,
honest.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I consider myself um, to be in similarity form of that too. Growing up, always being a people pleaser and thinking that you have to put their lives
Right.
and their happiness before yours, and that's actually counterintuitive and counter. I mean, it just sets the boat in motion and starts rocking it back and forth. And as you stated, it is genetically passed down environmentally too. But with your mother passing at the age of 7, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
you know the issues that you had with your brother, and then your father was telling you all along. I'm not a therapist or doctor, but I'm just observing it and giving input on this. But having all those ordeals in your life that were setting you back, and you had to keep pushing it down. Eventually, it was going to rise in one form or another. It could have been schizophrenia, it could have been bipolar, it could have been diabetes, arthritic issues, it could have been anything. And to me, what I find is anything that we claim as an illness is just your body's and mind's natural way of putting up a defense wall to
Hmm.
contend with it. And you know, I think it's surrounded by the variables that you've been given as a child, a very young child, to set forth, you know, what's going to trickle on it as time goes, you know, on with these.
I feel so lost by the doctors, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
I
like I call my doctor up and my doctor went like, yeah, I prescribe you quantipine. And I'm like, yeah, great. There's, there's like help. So I'm taking quantipine and then it's still not making me better. So I call my
mhm.
doctor up and they're going, okay, instead of taking one tablet, now take two. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm taking two.
So was
And
that
then,
based on blood work or just, you know, observing you in the
yes, just
appointment?
through the
Yeah.
lockdown. So like I called them up and they said, yeah, take two now. And
Oh,
then
wow.
not last week, the week before, I called her up and I said, I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling because I am on these bipolar Facebook groups and they are helping me a lot.
Hmm.
But they are every single person is on a different medication. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe I should be on that.
Well, that's it too. It's difficult to get a fine regimen for every
Yes.
individual.
And
There's
then the
so many
doctor goes like,
variables.
well, instead of two now, take three.
Holy God.
Yeah,
Well,
so that was a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm on 75 grams of quantipine.
grams or milligrams?
Sorry, is it milligrams?
Yeah, probably. But
It's
that's
like, yeah, a little tablet.
yeah, right. Okay. So,
Yeah.
have you noticed a difference in terms of adding the additional? No,
No,
no.
no, no.
S- So
I
when you're
just
sitting,
think quantipine is not for me.
right. Um, well, my history is, and I didn't, you know, go into fine detail besides podcasting here. Like I'm also, as you know, part of the group, the bipolar group there, to support
Yep.
myself and others alike. And I actually had to go off the medicine 3 years. Yeah, but yeah, this three years will be, sorry, 3 years in March for me. Um, my body was shutting down, and this isn't to scare anybody and say don't take your meds.
Wow.
It's simply for me
Yeah.
as an individual, couldn't keep that regimen going anymore. And I also felt that, you know, with the healthcare system with mental health was just declining. It seems to be getting worse from
Yep.
what I'm, you know, seeing in different parts of the world and whatnot. But that's not shit on every therapist and psychiatrist out there. I mean, we all deal with things differently, and you have to go the avenue and path that works strictly for you. So we really can't compare ourselves to anyone else. The best you can do is compare yourself to your former self, you know, coming up to this point. Like if you felt unstabilized, you're on medication, you're doing therapy and things to better yourself, then that's what you should be chiseling away at and carving that image that you need for yourself to be, you know, strong, sturdy, and stabilized, right? Um, I used to
I
do the
never thought
same.
about it that way.
What's that, sorry?
I never thought about it that way. Think about myself
Well, yeah,
the
because
way I was before.
yeah, well, see, it's all you know
I,
individually
to
based.
be honest, I can't even remember myself now what I
Yeah.
was like before. Because now I'm thinking, have I had bipolar my whole entire life?
Hmm.
But obviously, the doctors only gave it to me for like my medication 4 years ago and diagnosed me with it. But now I'm thinking, have I had it before? I don't know.
Well, this is it.
I've always been crazy. People always tell me, "Oh my God, you crazy."
Well, I got a good buddy. He put on his wall here a few days back. You're either born crazy or born boring, and you know I kind of like that. I laughed out loud to it
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
cool.
true. You know,
Yeah,
people that are different. I like different. It's you
I
know
like being
well,
different.
hell yeah, we're aiming for diversity all across the board, but yet we're
Yeah,
being shut down and shut up and told that you're so different that you have to be, you know, isolated and shunned
yeah.
away. It's unfortunate, and this is the
I
whole
like
idea of
being
this
different.
podcast
I
is
don't
to
know. I just don't like, I've got these voices in my head sometimes, like, especially when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God. And do you know who who I really feel sorry for?
hmm,
It's my children.
yeah,
I think my children are missing out on so much. Like, I kind of like being in my home and being with me. And then like my son comes out and goes, I'm bored. And I'm like, yeah, just, I'll buy you a new game for your Xbox. Instead of
Um,
taking him out and doing stuff with him, I'd rather spend 60 quid on a new game.
and from my experience, what that comes down to is, many a times I'd be going to bed and laying there and tell my wife, I could have done this, I could have done that differently. But when you really think about it, man, you're putting yourself on a different platform and probably another comparison to other family members and what you think is going on in their homes and how they're conducting with their children out
Do
in
you
the.
do that every night?
I used to, and then I found what I was doing was programming my mind and ingraining that thought that I was just not good enough. I wasn't a complete whole individual that was able to offer an outpouring abundance of love and affection and invest that time. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, man. I'm actually working on myself. And my key factor for myself is if I don't do the due diligence, the shadow work, my routines each and every day,
Mm.
what do I have to give to anyone else if I'm a
I
smashed
know. And then
individual, right?
sometimes I find, when I think like that, and sometimes I do, and I find myself really selfish.
Yeah,
I think to
exactly.
myself, oh my God, all I do is think about myself. How can I wake up tomorrow morning and be a better person? How can I improve the day tomorrow for myself? But then I come home from work and my son goes, I'm bored. And I'm like, yeah, just go back there. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
Yeah, but you
I'm so
can't.
selfish.
No, it's a matter of I think because we realize the world's judging us in a certain light that we have to be as critical as the rest of them, um, trying to self-justify everything, and you can't do that, man. With something of this nature, and now that I'm like somewhat in the clear, it's still an ongoing summit for me to climb and try to better myself each and every day. But
Do you talk to
um,
your wife every day about this?
oh God, yeah. I talked to her
Yeah.
about the content, that I want to put out for podcasting,
Yeah,
the routines that I'm doing, and she's going to work and telling her coworkers, the success story of what I've been doing to
that's
benefit
great.
myself, right?
It
And
makes me so proud, doesn't it?
well, it does, man, because
Yeah,
I was in a really bad place with the medicine and drinking a lot and just fucking giving up
yes.
hope, man.
I do
You
that
know?
too. I do drink a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to knock that off because I realized that was only impacting the severity to such a level that it wasn't even manageable. A bottle
Yeah.
or two of wine a night, and I was like, you know what? After my wife was saying, we can't do this anymore. This is all you think
Mm,
about, Um, and I was an ignorant, hateful person while being heavily medicated, suffering from the medications, almost dying off,
yeah.
and trying to polish it all off with a couple of drinks a night. And, it was,
It's to be honest, like since I've been on that medication, like I used to drink 2 bottles of wine every night. Like every night I come home, I used to be a manager in a supermarket, so I used to come home at like silly hours, but I would make sure I drink them 2 bottles to
yeah,
make sure that I can go to sleep.
yeah.
But now I'm on medication, I actually do get better sleeps.
Oh,
So,
definitely, definitely.
and since then, since I've been taking the medication, so it's been like, 3, 4 years, I've um I've not been drinking wine one bit.
Nice.
I've vodka and Diet Coke, but now, but instead of having 2 bottles of wine, I have 2 or 3 glasses of vodka and Diet Coke.
Okay.
So, where before I used to go so drunk, and now I'm just getting tipsy. Not even tipsy, I don't think. I just take my tablets after I eat, and then I crash out.
Yeah, well, there. See, that's the idea too, is limiting those bad habits. I mean, we all have
Yeah.
vices, and I'm not here to say and judge everybody and saying you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. I'm just simply saying what worked for me as an individual, and people can extract and discard as necessary. Um, you know, I've got quite a bit of experience, 20 plus years of this, and
Wow.
coming out on the other side and going, okay, I've tried multiple concoctions, I've tried this way of living and this lifestyle, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, but there are things that I can offer people to help
Well,
slow the rapid mindset
can
that
I ask
cycles
you
like
a
crazy. Yeah,
question?
Sure. Yeah, shoot.
How long have you been married?
Um, well, common
Or
law. Yeah.
been with your wife?
Going on 11 years now, eh?
So you found out you had bipolar before that?
Oh, God, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
41 now. Um, I was diagnosed when I was 19, and just I was on
So did you
medication.
tell us straight away?
Sorry, what was that?
Did you tell us straight away that you had bipolar?
Uh, Not right away because it was that stigmatic fear factor that came into place for all of us. We
Yeah.
know that, you tell friends or new associates or your
Mm-hmm.
coworkers, and it's like, oh fuck, everything just does a
Yeah,
180, and you're like, okay, I'm not a part of this clicky
it
bunch
is. Yeah.
anymore, right? Yeah. So I was quite quiet about it initially, and then I blew the whistle on myself as time went on. I think she had some type of an understanding of it prior to me even announcing it because of a small town that we come from. People talk anyway, and of course you're going to hear more
She
stories,
probably
right?
would have had more understanding even before. You just,
Probably, but
yeah.
yeah, it's that negative gnawing mindset in the back of your
Yeah,
head that just
it
keeps
is
telling you
because
you're
my
not enough.
husband is so understanding. Like,
Sweet, that's good, man.
he
Right?
he is so lovely. He's
That's awesome.
like I couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah, and we need that
He,
support. You know. Um,
yes. Yes, and he calls me his crazy lady. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
I am his crazy lady. I do flip out. I do have my
Well,
but
the other
he's with me when I do these things.
nice, nice. Well,
Yeah,
see,
and he supports me.
the other thing is people don't realize that people who have mental illnesses, we react similar to how normal people act too. We have emotional disturbances or exciting moments, but of course, it seems to be almost running on a deeper level with us. We're static with our hypersexuality,
Yeah,
our instability at times, and it can be quite overwhelming for the individuals who haven't gone through that
yeah.
process. And thankfully for my wife, it was kind of nerve wracking at first when I tapered off the medicine. And I suggest if anyone has the idea of wanting to get off their meds, do it respectfully for yourself and the ones around you.
With
Taper off
hope, babe.
things.
With hope.
Holy shit! But also, with do it with a doctor. A
Yes,
licensed psychiatrist, not on your own
yes.
demise. I did it
Terribly
because
so.
my
I've tried
kidneys were
it.
going to fall. Yeah,
Yeah, I've
fail.
tried
Right.
it. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
good.
it's not a good idea. Um, as I mentioned to Tia on our podcast the other day, I said about my doc switching me from olanzapine to Abilify, and there was no tapering. It was just, here, get off this drug, get on that one, you'll be fine. And I remember sitting down and watching a movie with my wife one night, and I was newly enrolled in community college, and I said, I don't like this feeling, this all too familiar feeling where the red carpet's being pulled from underneath my feet, like I'm swirling in that dark, dismal shit place that I don't want to be in. Those memories of 20 years ago, they're flooding back now, and I can't deal with it. So yeah, it's not wise to be jumping off
Yep.
meds and be like, well, I want to be like everybody else and just med free. I don't have to set a timer or an app on my phone to remind me to take these bloody things. But it's not wise. I didn't just stumble across and go, there we are. I'm fixed. Um,
Normally, I would just say like, we just crazy people.
yeah, well, I think we all have our own problems, each and every one of us, and it's not
To
just
be honest, you know what?
the
I'd even joke.
bipolar.
I think like everyone is crazy.
Oh hell yeah, right? I mean, you think about the standards we live in today in all parts of the world. It's fucking nuts,
It's just
right?
we got diagnosed with it.
Yeah, that's right. That's how
I
I see
think
it.
everyone is, the whole world is crazy,
Yeah,
but we've got a reason to be crazy.
yeah. And I also feel that our projection of thoughts and ideas come from a
Yeah.
different place that only us bipolar individuals can resonate with, and that's why it's so important to, unite with each other and talk amongst
Yes,
ourselves because
100%.
these labels that they constantly give us, man, they can either push you in the ground or you can use that as
Oh
fuel to better
God.
yourself, right?
They make
So,
you cry sometimes, like you like
mhm.
proper go into a deep end, don't ya?
Yep, big time.
And it takes so much. Like if I wouldn't have my husband, if I wouldn't have my children, like if I was by myself, and I feel for people that are by themselves with this.
Yeah, especially during these times, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's why I joined these groups on Facebook, and I'm thinking like, that's why I'm in this group. I'm trying to help these people because I've got my kids, I've got my husband who helped me out of these things. Like my daughter's 19, she knows what I'm going through. My son is 12, he doesn't. But my
Right.
daughter does, and me and my daughter, we like best friends.
That's
Like she's
awesome.
my bestest friend, and my husband obviously as well. But if I wouldn't have them two, I'd be by myself.
Yeah,
And
that'd
I
be
could
difficult,
not
right?
imagine what it's like having bipolar or any schizophrenia by yourself.
Yeah, I've got some friends who have to travel on their own with those conditions, and it's not easy. I mean, I count my blessings, and I'm quite, thankful that I have a
You
family
are
and,
very
and
lucky
a
too,
support
yeah.
system, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. So
we are
that's,
very lucky.
well, yeah, and that's the other factor here is to reach out to the ones in the group when you see somebody going through a hard time. A simple comment,
Yeah.
even an emoji. I mean, it's minimal, but
Do
that's
you
better
know
than
what? I
just
know
being
we
left
can't
alone.
do it. It's lockdown. I know we can't do it. But just a hug.
Yep, that's
Just a
it.
hug is so nice sometimes.
Well, it is, and that's the really unfortunate part with this whole COVID thing, man. People are being told to stay home, and we got a
I
second wave
know,
coming
I
up here
know.
in Nova
I've got a
Scotia
few
soon, I think.
friends like, I've got my husband's sister, like my husband's sister Tina. She's like, if I don't have my husband and I don't have my daughter to talk to, like she's there. Like
Nice.
she texts me every morning, like she's just like an emoji.
Yep.
So on my way to
Right on.
work, I see that emoji and I'm like, I love you.
And it makes all the
Make
difference in the world.
my day.
Excuse me. Yeah, exactly. So, Nikki, what do you do in terms of, I mean, you take meds and you obviously go to your appointments and keep a strict routine with that. But what
Yeah.
else do you do to benefit yourself in the course of a day, you think?
Right now, you can't do a lot, can you? The
Well,
lockdown.
well, that's it. But there are some suggestions, and if you don't
Yes.
mind, I
Well,
can toss
I
to it.
work.
Yep.
I work. I've got right now a big responsibility because my dog is pregnant.
Oh, wow.
So I think I'm focused. I like everything. All my focus is on my dog right now.
Hmm.
So because she's due any day. But I think it's cleaning. I bought.
Keeps your mind
I
busy,
don't know
eh?
if you're aware of the Miss Hinge books. Do you know
Nice.
Miss Hinge?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Oh my
But
goodness, man.
elaborate, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Miss Hinge is a very famous woman here in England
Hmm.
who's just started cleaning and then written books about it. And
Hmm.
it's called like Do You Hinge? Just
That makes
hinge
sense.
yourself.
Nice.
Yes, and that's what I do. Like when I'm not at work or I don't take my dog out for work, I hinge. It's called
Okay.
like, yeah,
So
hinge
that's
yourself.
that's more or less just a way to take the rapid thoughts that cycle through and just kind of
Yeah.
divert it into a different
My
direction.
daughter
That's.
for Christmas, she bought me these iPods.
Hmm.
So I put them in my ears and I put my musicals on. I love musicals. So I
Yeah.
love
Nice.
Les Miserables and I love The Greatest Showman. And I put it on really loud. And if you walk past my window while I clean, you can probably see me some ballet
Yeah.
pirouettes.
But that's the whole idea, right? Just to free yourself so that you're not
Yeah,
imprisoned and that's
yeah.
that's ideal. I've got a couple of suggestions too if you're open to hearing them.
Yes,
Um,
please.
I meditate a lot, and I can't tell you, and express how well and beneficial that is, not just for myself, but anyone who's newly introduced to it. I mean, it's been around for eons. Let's face it.
I know.
But
I put it on my telly on YouTube and I did some yoga and stuff.
perfect. Now, see, those things are allowing the chi in the body to, flow freely, and
Yeah,
that's a big factor for us. We have balls of energy inside of us, unless of course your adrenals are tapped. Mine were, but never knowing where to focus that energy to.
yeah,
So meditation helps calm the mind, and you're always still in the present moment. And when
yeah,
you find that you can't, like these thoughts and memories that will come back and forth while you're meditating, just let them bypass without being attached to them. You know, it's kind of like watching a slideshow and going, oh, okay, back to my breathing. And if you concentrate on that breathing while you're meditating, and I go for like 10 minutes sitting on a yoga mat every morning, that really centers you, right? And just kind of aligns you with the rest of the day and just keeps things in a proper perspective. Yoga is a definite benefit to add to it, as you mentioned. Qigong is another one, right? That's just getting.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never tried it.
Yeah. I think what I'll do is at the end of our video, when I'm uploading this, I'll post it on there, a link to the one that I
But
do.
next to my work, they've just literally opening a MMR academy, like like kung fu and
Oh,
boxing and all
nice.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
took.
so I want to join that, but they're not allowed to open right now. It's finished, but they're
Yeah.
not allowed to open it right now because obviously of the lockdown. But it's right next to my work, so once that's
Okay.
open, I'm gonna take my son there and just gonna have some
Yeah.
fun with him.
I don't blame you. I took boxing here a couple
Yeah.
years ago. Suffered some mega concussions, and I don't recommend getting into the physical attributes of that for that nature. But cardio is awesome. You know, like I said, trying to disperse
Yeah,
that energy in a positive manner is the
you
way to
need
go.
to.
Yeah,
You've got so much
yeah,
energy
and
here, like everywhere.
yeah, and a big key factor too is getting out in the sunlight. You know, to absorb that vitamin D. You can take a supplement, especially well the weather conditions we have now, snowstorms and everything else. But I'll sit outside and be done up in a parka, bloody well toque, some mittens and gloves, and reading a book to absorb that 5-10 minutes of the sunshine. We need that to set the melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine proper in the brain, right? And you know, summertime, I can't wait. Springtime, really. Get out there and start performing
I can't
qigong
wait for the
with
summer.
the bare feet. Hell yeah, because you're grounding yourself and you're absorbing all the benefits from the earth, that magnet that sits there, and that's the problem.
100%.
Yeah, the problem with us being
100%.
irregular, sorry, not irregular, but irregulated. When you're going to the beach, for an example, if you can just envision that, if are you near a beach, Nikki? No.
Yeah, not a very nice one though.
Okay. Well, regardless, though, like when you go to a beach, a setting like that, and you're barefoot,
Yeah.
do you not feel calm, relaxed,
Oh God,
right?
yes.
You know,
Oh God,
that's
yes.
that's the whole idea, and we need more of that, introduced in our lives. And
Like just taking my dog out for a walk. I
well,
just
there you
like
go. Be one with
it's
nature,
just
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Same. I do it every day, and
I love I
I
love
know.
nature.
Yeah, me
I do
too,
love
big time.
nature. Yeah,
That's the natural healer. There's no
it
band-aids
is
there,
100%.
right? You know.
Yeah,
Um, diet is another thing I tell people all the time. Like the primary brain sits here in the stomach, right? It's this is the backup storage unit, and people think, oh, this is what I regulate my thoughts and ideas and all that from, but it's all here. We're 50% human. The other 50% is bacteria, which is in the microbiome, the gut flora, which is bad and good, and you need both, duality, to function properly. And when you're consuming a diet full of processed foods and sugars and shit like that, that's going to have a nasty effect on the way you regulate
yeah,
your mindset, right? And
yeah. I do eat a lot of fruit though.
you say you don't?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's tough
Hey,
too. I mean,
honey
again,
melon and pineapple. I love it.
nice, right? That's perfect. Um, I think I'll add a link to the microbiome podcast that I was watching here last week
Yeah,
too. That's definitely beneficial for individuals who are suffering these conditions, right? I
yeah.
mean,
It is.
it's like one big massive formula, and what I project out to everybody is not going to work for every individual. They're just things that you could try that aren't going to harm you naturally, right? But once you get your own formula down, it's like becoming an alchemist and having that pristine way of formulating a therapeutic environment for yourself that you can just run with, right?
Have you had a lot of like, when you do your podcast, have you had a lot of like people asking you questions, like, just
Uh,
like texting
just
you, messaging you?
about the podcast or during the podcast, you mean? Like,
Both, yeah, both.
yeah, some people ask me certain questions. What I'm doing to manage my own conditions and whatnot, and even people that I tell about my podcast, like, oh, what's your podcast about? And I always hit it and say that it's pretty much highlighting mental illness, sorry, and
Yeah.
how to cope and manage with it, with medicine, with therapy, in conjunction with, holistical alternatives. Because I'm a
So when
firm
you
believer. Sorry, go
so
ahead.
when so when you talk to people, it's like, do you think like most people have bipolar because they inherited it, or do you think they had it because of their own mental health?
Well, again, there's many variables, and everyone's different. I can't, push that uh, in a further direction. I mean, like,
I know, it's just like, do you know, like lots of people come up and they'll go like, yeah, like your mum did that to herself. And I'm like, no, my mum wouldn't do that. I was 7, my brother was 9. And then, like, obviously you don't believe that, do you? And then, obviously, then you have people and then saying the opposite thing, and then other people saying your mum was mentally ill.
right.
And all these years, I'm just like wondering, like, what actually happened. Do you know,
Well,
like, obviously, you can't tell me what happened to my mum. I'm just like thinking, have I got it because she's got it? So that makes sense then, because then she's had bipolar and she didn't want to live anymore.
there's a few things I can touch on that. I don't know the extent of your history nor your
Yeah,
mother's, obviously, but I know I mentioned in my last podcast a book by Gabriel Monte, The Body Keeps the Score. Sorry, The Body Says No.
yeah,
There we are.
not heard that, no.
Yeah, well, he's talking about suppressing our emotional traumas that happen at a very early age, and they just keep stacking on each other. And, you can push it down as much as you want, but it's almost like trying to push a balloon in the water or something of that nature in comparison. It's just going
I
to
was
want to
just
rise and float up,
I was
right?
just always thinking, like, do you know what? I'm 40 now. My mum was I was 7 when she died, but I'm thinking at her age, like when I was 7, there was no help out there for her.
No, definitely not, right? Which would have
A
been a
hundred
lot more
percent. So I'm
difficult.
thinking maybe she did have it,
Yeah,
and like they just didn't know. And my dad ain't gonna tell me now, is he?
well, definitely
Right.
not. Yeah, as you know too, back in those days, things were really put in the
So
closet and totally
yeah.
shunned, not to be discussed. Because it was bringing shame to the rest of the household and the family members
Yeah.
involved, right?
And that's, do you
But
know what? That's how I feel when I talk to my dad about this now. I feel like my dad's going, just shut up.
yeah,
I don't want to talk about it.
yeah, it's also a reflection of how
But
he feels about
sometimes you
himself
just
too,
need
right?
someone to talk to. And I know I've got
Yeah,
my husband, and I know I've got my daughter, and I know I've got people to talk to. But there's only certain people that know the truth
yeah,
or that you can talk to about stuff like this.
that's right. Yep.
And
Yeah.
those people are not willing to talk to you.
No, like I said, I went a good 15 years being diagnosed, medicated without talking to a single soul about it. We didn't have the ability to sit on a podcast or a group back then to,
No.
resonate with individuals and just have, you know, conversations about it. It was, you went strictly to your appointments, wrote
Yeah.
your script, was sent off,
There you
and
go. Have your
back you come.
medication and off you
Yeah,
go.
right. Pretty cut and dry.
And
And
don't tell no one, by the way, yeah, while
yeah,
you're on the way out.
I had a lot of psychiatrists say that. Well, like, well, Matt, in your job place, you probably shouldn't mention it. There's a lot of stigma
Yeah,
around it yet. I'm going,
yeah.
holy, well,
Especially like,
how are you
if you
supposed to
start a new
survive?
job or something.
Yeah, right. So I will mention too about a question you had earlier, environmental. That definitely plays a role. And you got to
Yeah.
remember too, if we're 70 to 80% water, um, there's memory in water. People may or may not be aware of that, but if we're 70, 80% water, this is my own understanding of it, I would think that the memories derived from your ancestors, even into your parents and down to you, right? That genetic enhancement, not enhancement, it's not enhanced, is it? That genetic
You're
disposition,
right.
yeah, has traveled into your body. And there's something called holotropic breath work. And I spoke to Sean Blackwell about this. I knew about it several months ago, speaking to one of my naturopathic doctors. And it's a way to kind of like uh, fuck, what am I trying to say here? Reinvent yourself, right? I'm kind of
Yes,
dry.
right.
It must be the tea. Um, and you can
What is it,
actually,
Tay?
yeah, right. No, it is. I swear. You can actually be rebirth through this process.
Oh
Um,
my God.
you
You know,
know,
it actually makes sense if you think about it.
it does. And I'll mention too, like when I throw this podcast out there and a link to the microbiome podcast with Tom Biglio on impact theory, it's going to blow people's minds. They're just figuring out now in the last several years that women who have C sections with their babies
I did.
aren't.
I had two.
What's that?
I had
You had
two.
two? Okay. So
Yeah, I've
what
got two
happens is
kids.
they need that bacteria when they're going through the canal before birth, so that they're covered in that bacteria and stuff. And
Yeah.
what they're doing now is actually taking a swab and hitting the vaginal area of the mother. And when the baby's out after the C-section, swabbing him or her to death with it, so that they can absorb all the bacteria. We need that to thrive. And
Yeah.
there's a doctor on that podcast who she was expressing to her coworkers, and they're like, "What? We never heard of this." So it's very important to have that bacteria in your
Crazy
body, right?
thinking now.
What's that? Sorry.
That is like, not, sorry, I didn't mean like that's crazy thinking. Like, that's like, if you think about it, that makes sense.
Yeah, big time, right? And that's why there's a lot of well, they say connections with autism and ADHD and different things like that. I mean, naturally, if you get a breech birth, I mean, you can't help but have a C-section.
I
And
had two.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. I
I
mean,
had two.
you do what you can, at least.
Two lovely kids, but they were both lazy and wouldn't turn around.
Yeah,
And they're
right.
still lazy.
Yeah. So yeah, if you could introduce fermented foods to your body, this
What do you
most
mean by that?
like probiotics, prebiotics, kefir milk. Uh, what the hell is that one drink? Kumbachi. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but pickled foods and whatnot, things that sit around
I
in a
love
preserved
gherkins.
state. Yeah,
Be good.
right.
Yeah, and
Um,
cabbage.
Because I know for a fact, like, I typically go 4 to 7 days without junk food, and when I say that, that's like even a simple cookie or something. But the moment, and I've got chemical sensitivities too. I don't know if that was from the medicines of all the years destroying my gut lining or not, but I can feel the effects of that for days on end, and I know that that travels through your intestinal system for several days before you have a bowel movement with it. But that plagues me, right? If I eat junk food, I can feel it. You're
Yeah,
lethargic, depressed, and we're
yeah,
not connecting the dots and making that so obvious that food can be your medicine or your poison. And until you take
100%.
yeah until you take charge of that and accountability and be
Well,
responsible for it, right?
I was actually bulimic when I was like in my teens. So
Oh, were you?
yeah, my dad used to tell me how big I was, and then
Ah,
my daughter's dad told me that I was really fat. And then
oh
every time
man.
he cheated on me, it was with a woman that was half the size of me.
Ooh, sorry to
So
hear that, right?
that's all right. It's just like, she's 19 now. We split up when she was about 4 years old, and then I met my husband, who was just
Right.
like, he likes all my shapes, all my sizes.
That's awesome.
He doesn't-
And that's how it
Yeah,
should be. Accept you for who you are, with your
yeah.
flaws, with
I'm not
you know,
even joking. We've been together now 16 years,
nice.
and I've never felt so comfortable. But it's only started last year.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was your own mindset, like tripping you up all along, up until the present year. Yeah.
Yeah, I I would always go like, every time he touched me, I wanted my belly to be flat. Like
That's unfortunate.
I was crazy. Or when he cuddled me, I was laying in bed and was going, and then I thought to myself, oh my God, can you just stop touching me because I need to breathe out?
Yeah. See, that sucks too, because even
Yeah,
myself, trying to be physically fit all the time. I've even said to a couple of buddies in the gym, "What the fuck are we even doing here, man? We're just stroking the ego, building ourselves up." And I get it; it's for optimal health. But at the same time, you don't have to go through the rigmarole
yeah.
that you do
I
just
used
to
to
look a
drink
certain way,
I
right?
used to drink a pint glass of water before I ate my dinner. So,
Hmm.
you line it up with water so you can when you put your fingers down.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, honest. And then don't eat bread because that can't come out. The best stuff that comes out is pasta, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a constant like a list in your head. What can you eat? What can't you eat? What do you have to drink first? What do you have to drink after? It's crazy.
It is. And I think what we need to do as a general whole, a collective consciousness, is simply accept ourselves with our attributes, our flaws, and just realize that we're just human. You know, there's nothing that's right or wrong about how we look. You know,
No,
as I said with
there's
foods,
nothing wrong with you. But you know
oh
what,
shit.
Mr. Barr? I just wished I would have woken up the day I met my husband. I
Yeah.
don't know why it takes your body and your mind such a long time to wake up. Like my husband loves me for the woman I am. He loves me for everything I am. He loves my body. He loves my toes. He loves my fingertips. You know what I mean? He likes
That's
everything
awesome.
on me.
Yeah.
But why can't I get that in my head?
Well, see, that's part of the conditioning and programming that we've set up for ourselves and the externals around us, right? You were probably
Right.
told you
And
weren't
then you see
enough.
all the magazines and you go, no, I
Yeah, I
don't
know,
look like
right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all garbage as far as I'm concerned. You know,
Garbage.
yeah. And I went off Facebook here for a good year, and I felt so clear in the mind. This is when I was going through my regimen of being off the meds and
Yep.
stuff, and I was like, I need a break from social media because we're just
Yeah.
bombarded with
You
ads
do
all day
sometimes.
surrounding us. Well, yeah, telling you how to be, you know, how to act, what you need to acquire to have success in
Yep.
life, and it's like, oh my God, all the materialistic gain
Yep.
and
See,
possessions
my
don't mean
husband
shit.
never had Facebook. He started like 2, 3 years ago, but only
Nice.
because he wanted to buy and sell cars.
Well, that makes
And
sense. Utilize it as a
yeah,
tool. Yep. Yep.
so but he used to call it oh, what did he used to call it? Um oh my God, face ache. He
Yeah,
used to call it face
that's a good
ache.
one. I can, I
Yeah.
can, I
And
can
he went like,
understand
oh,
that.
what are you doing on that again? He went like,
Yeah.
it's not good for you. And I'm like, oh, I'm just talking to my friends.
Yeah. Well, like I said too, it's
You know what
you
it
know,
is on Facebook? It's all a competition.
it is much like everything in life, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
I was out shoveling this morning because we had a bit of a dumping here with some snow and a ton of rain. I figured I'll get cracking at it now before it gets too heavy. It was already heavy when I went out, but listening to a podcast about minimalism, and I thought, shit, that's a good idea, isn't it? Discarding
Yeah.
things that you don't need in your life, whether it's people, you know, materialistic possessions you have in your house. I mean, things that don't serve you. There's no
No.
purpose for them anymore, right? And that's
Mm.
that's that's the lifestyle that we're shown each and every day. Is you need more to feel better, and you get that, and you're like,
Listen,
well, I need to reach the next, you know,
are
level
you
of
happy?
what's that?
Are you happy?
I'm happy. I mean, as happy can be, but then you got to define happiness. See, like I read a lot of books too.
I do too. And one of the greatest books I read was The Secret. I love The Secret.
I started that, but I felt like it was a little.
Oh no!
Yeah, I
Don't
know,
stop!
right? No, I
Don't
did.
stop!
I got partway through, and it was my gut intuition that said this book isn't for you. Um,
Oh no! You got to! You
yeah,
got to!
right.
It's just like, just be happy.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
literally stop reading the book, and just be happy.
well, yeah,
Because
exactly.
that's what the book is all about. Just be happy and
And grateful.
yeah,
Yeah.
just be grateful.
Yep. Well, I
Be
see. I make
grateful
a.
for what you have. And most people are not grateful or happy with what they have.
No,
They want
until they lose it.
more.
Yep. But when you
Yeah,
start
and
losing
I
things that really
literally,
count.
after 16 years,
Hmm.
and this sounds so horrible, I hope my husband doesn't hear me. But after 16 years, I am so grateful and I'm so happy I've got this man in my life.
That's awesome, right? It truly is. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's hard to get there.
yeah. Yeah.
It
Exactly.
does.
It does. Um, so you said 4 years now you've been diagnosed with medicines, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Quantifying.
Just the one medicine?
One medicine, yeah, they won't
Oh,
change
lucky.
mine.
Okay. So is that that must be for bipolar 2, is it?
Quantifying is for bipolar.
Yeah. But were you diagnosed with bipolar 1 or 2?
Two.
Okay. So that's
Two.
you know, the moods that come and go without the The
screaming
psychosis.
matches and everything,
Right,
and
yeah.
losing it, and yeah,
Okay.
just a crazy person. I'm very what's that word? Sorry, my English
No,
sometimes.
it's okay. It's okay.
Um, Paranoid. I'm
Hmm.
very, very paranoid when I'm at work. I think everyone's talking about me. It's like
Okay.
people whisper and I'm thinking they're slagging me off. Then
Yeah,
I
that's the worst
lose.
thing you can do. So I'll give you another suggestion, then, Nikki. Have you ever heard of EMDR training?
No.
I'll add that to the
E-
description below. Right?
What's it called?
EMDR.
No.
It's it's a technique that was brought out quite a few years ago, and I read a book by Vesser. Jeez, I can't even say his name. Vessel Vanderkolk. There we are. He's a Dutch psychiatrist, and he came
Yeah.
out with this method in his book, and I was reading along, and I'll tell you, those two books by Gabor Mate and Bessel van der Kolk were just by far the most informative and meaningful books I've read my entire life. And The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I'll add that on there too. But he was talking about EMDR training, and it's all about suppression of the memories that we've held on to for all these years, and they get lodged in your body and your tissues and your organs, and it's really
Well,
uh,
I don't want to come out though.
well, see, they need to in small doses. Like when you
Like
contain that,
I had tried it. I told my dad what happened to me when I was younger, and my dad went, "Why are you telling me now? Your brother is happily married, and why are you trying to ruin his life?" So that's what I
well,
got from my dad when I told him that I got sexually abused by my
yeah,
brother.
right. So with the MDR training, what happens is while you're watching this little icon float across the screen, it's like what the therapist will take their finger like this and tell you to watch it. They move it back and forth, and they ask you to think of negative thoughts from your past. And so what you're doing is you're creating this flow state to stare at something, to reminisce about the past. But while you're doing so, this method of simple eye gazing on a finger or a ball that's on a screen takes that fight or flight and those ingrained memories and wipes them out. It's kind of like a computer, stored files that were corrupt and needed to be discarded. That's what we're doing with our brains. And I was doing that for my chemical sensitivities. And you don't have to think about anything, just sit there and watch this, and thoughts naturally come about. That's just how we were engineered, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, that'll take you to the fight or flight mode so that you can just be relaxed. As I mentioned with the qigong and the meditation and grounding yourself and being in nature, all these things together can create such a bliss for people if they just grab a hold of it. Therapy helps, talking to psychiatrists and people, and medicine too. But there's so much more due diligence involved for every individual, and
Yes.
you just need to find what works for you, right?
Works for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
You got to find what works for you. Like when I go on Facebook and I talk to all these women, and they just put there, "I've had enough," or they go, "I can't go on," and you're like, "Wow, what's the matter? Like, do you want to talk to someone?" I always put underneath, "I'm here if you want to talk. I'm going through the same thing. Just talk to me."
Nice. Yeah.
Not one of them though texts you back.
You mean
And
in the bipolar group?
yes,
Oh,
not one. Like
yeah.
there's two women that have texted me back, but 90% they don't text you back. They put it on there saying, "I need help. I'm losing my mind. I probably won't make tomorrow."
Yeah. Well, there could be a couple of factors involved. Depending on how you're trying to reach them, if you're replying right underneath their status, or if you're sending private messages, they won't receive unless they look at requested messages because you're not friends of
Both.
friends and whatnot. But there might be other issues. I mean, everyone's different, but it could simply be like they just want to
Someone
throw it
next to
out
them.
there. Well, yeah, throw it out there and get a feeling like they're being comforted by somebody, but they don't want to dive into that discussion
No
at
one
that present
talk.
moment just yet. Yeah, right.
Mm.
Um,
I have that so many times, Do you know, like, I'm the worst person to text. If you're in trouble, don't text me.
call you, right?
No, don't call me
No.
ever. I won't answer.
Really?
No, if you're in trouble, call my husband, call my daughter.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, people call me, people text me, and I'll just ignore them. Like, I make plans for next week. Next Friday, honey, come over. Me and you gonna have, I'll be okay with it because I've got to mentally get myself ready for someone to come over.
Well, that makes sense too. I mean, if that's what you've been doing for X amount of
Yeah,
years, that's
always. And then
yeah,
when
right.
when she says, "Oh, I'll be over tomorrow," and I'm like, and then like ignore her.
Hmm.
And then the next day she calls me like, and I'm not answering the phone call.
Yeah.
Is that is that bipolar too?
Uh, well, I can't speak uh,
I
for the
just hate
general population of
talking to people. Like
yeah.
I work
Uh,
with the public, and I'm great with that.
mhm.
I'm like, hi, all the bubbly one. But when it comes to like my phone, or my house, people want to come over. People want to get close to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
stay
No,
away
that's
from it.
that's you putting up your protective barrier because at that time you're not feeling like you're able to give like especially if you're going to work all day and you're just pushing out this energy. I mean, you only say like you got a full tank. My fingers aren't really showing. There we are. A full tank of gas or fuel or however you want to put this. At the end of the day, you're probably down to here. So when your phone goes off, you're like, I don't have an ounce of energy to give you or anyone else. I need to hold on to that for myself to continue the next day and the rest of the week. You know,
Hmm.
so that could be a factor too. I wouldn't really say it's bipolar. I just know that there's a lot of inabilities to.
No, I just think I like being by myself in my own little
Yeah.
bubble with my husband and my kids.
Well, that's okay too. I mean, a lot of people thrive that way. I was never properly diagnosed ADHD or ADD, but I know I have some type of,
Some form of it,
well,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. My son does, so naturally it's like, okay, well, it's probably a little
Mm-hmm.
environmental and genetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a rampant little rabbit bastard anyway when I want to get moving and do stuff. A lot of people can't keep up with me, but uh,
Oh yeah, me too.
well, yeah, and back in our ancestral days, I mean, that was a blessing. You were a hunter gatherer, and you needed to be alert and on you know, the watch for things so that you could be able to protect yourself and your tribe or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? And now it's
Yeah.
looked down upon as a negative factor. And like I said too, my ideologies on these labels and disorders is rather upsetting. But
I hate labels.
I do too because that singles you out to be a lesser form of what you could be, and that's what's presented in the world. If this was, um, well, I might be getting off topic here, but that might be for another discussion too. I have different ideologies around the whole slew of mental health and disorders, but really what I'm trying to do here is just, you know, allow people to get their stories out and just conversate with
Yeah.
them and collaborate ideas and thoughts. But yeah,
I
yeah,
think
well,
I just find it really hard to talk to anyone. And then, honest to God, I wasn't gonna have this conversation tonight.
hmm
Honest to God, I was like, I can't do it. Like all day I was at work and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then my daughter actually came in and she went, are you not supposed to do that podcast today? And I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
hmm
And she went, no, Mom, you can.
nice.
Like she went, text him, you can. And I went like, no, I can't. She went like, no, you can. I went, okay, I can.
That's awesome. And here you are. We're going through the motions and talking things out and just, you know,
She's such an angel. She helps me
yeah.
through so much.
Well, it's
She's been
awesome.
through so much, and
Well, I got to
she's
give you guys credit for coming on my channel here and expressing your stories because it takes kahunas, man. This isn't easy to be projecting your stories to the world. As we know, this is being uploaded to YouTube, and people are going to view this, and they might even comment. And the moral of the story is, the more people that tell their stories, the more awareness we can spread about this, so that we
yes.
don't have to feel isolated and secluded so
And there
bad.
is so many different types. Like, I saw your podcast with that lady that you did, the colored lady. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm not that bad. Maybe I think that's why I freaked out so much. I thought to myself, no, I'm not like her. But in a way you are, but then you're not. But then you're trying to make excuses in your head that I shouldn't have to talk to him because I'm not like that.
Yeah, well,
You know,
see,
it's just a crazy, vicious circle you can't get out of.
mhm.
And I don't even think I made sense right now.
No, God, certainly it makes sense. It's just possibly we overthink, and we're
All
always
the time.
always speculating the worst outcome of any situation, and that's yet another learned habit. You know, that, okay, I can't do this because, or but I try to blast through those barriers and those walls and just tear them down. I think that we're all quite capable of doing a lot of things, but we always have that negative voice over the voice of reason that just wants to keep telling you you're not good enough, you can't do this. So eventually, you're stuck in that stagnant mentality, and it's hard to chisel away and become something else without the help of support or, as I said
So
before,
I,
doing.
I start talking about stuff, and then like 20 million times a day, I'm like, what did I just talk about? I was just talking to you. Oh, I forgot what I was talking about.
Well, that happens too because we have
I
the
don't
ability
know.
to project our thoughts in so many different avenues, right? I do it all the time. Like I do it on the podcast. If you watch my other ones, you'll see me going, "Shit, where was I? I totally forget." Right? And like, "Oh yeah, Matt, you were talking about this." I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks, man," and then just loop around again. But it's just the way the mind works, for us
Yeah,
individuals.
I've got no one around me that says to me, "Oh no, you were talking about this." No, everyone around me goes, "Oh, I don't know,"
They're not being too
and that
attentive
makes
then,
me more
right?
confused.
Well, yeah, naturally.
Oh,
So,
thank you very much.
well,
I'll
yeah,
keep
right.
telling my husband that.
Yeah. Well, my wife says it all the time. Matt, you're not listening. I'm like, no, no, I'm giving you the space to listen. I'm here. But we all have busy lives and busy thoughts, and it's just the way it is sometimes, right? But
Yeah, my mind is just
so
on, and I can't sleep at night. I'm like, if I don't take my medicine, I can't sleep. I'm just laying here looking at the ceiling, going, "Please let me go to sleep."
yeah, well, I'll tell you too. Even when I was tapering off the medicine, and probably right up until last year, even though I was putting all of this together, I felt like I couldn't get enough rest. And my wife and I listened to this guy named, I'll throw that on the link too, down below in the description box. Jason Stevenson. He's got talkative meditation. So it's a guided meditation that you listen to. And I'll tell you, Nikki, holy shit. Within 15 minutes of
The
listening to
name
his,
says something.
right? Oh, he's awesome. He's, I want to say he's Australian.
The name is telling me
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'll throw that out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, 15 minutes of his meditation. I was out. She would grab the little Bluetooth speaker that we had and
No
have to turn it
way.
off. Yeah, it was good, right? Um I
Oh
smoke
my
weed too.
God.
Like, I'm not going to tell her when to go ahead and puff on your ganji, but for
I
me,
know my husband does it too.
yeah, for me that helps me. I go out at 9 o'clock religiously every night, have a little
Yeah.
toke, and then I'll watch a show with my wife, and then boom, I'm done, and I get a good solid 8 hours sleep, right? And I'm good for the day. But I was walking around, uh, probably yeah,
I've
six to eight
tried it.
months
I
ago.
cannot get on with it. Honest to God. Someone said to me, "No, it's good for bipolar." We're like,
Well, yeah. See, I don't make that recommendation because again, you don't know what's going on in the minds of everybody, and for
in everyone's head.
yeah, right. I gotta smoke indicas. I can't do sativas because
Yeah.
I'll just like it makes me too uncomfortable and sketchy like.
What is
And
that?
sativas, it's another strand of weed. I do
Oh,
the indicas. Those are the ones that help you just relax and kind of sedate you. Sativas,
never heard of it.
yeah, see, sativas energize you and get you ramped up, and I'm like, fuck that. I've already got energy. I don't need more. I want to make myself docile for the night here and just simmer down, right? Yeah,
Uh, can I just tell you one thing?
sure.
I really need a wee wee.
You need a what? Sorry? Sorry, Nikki, you froze. What was that?
I really need a toilet.
A Tyler?
I said, I really need a wee wee.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. All right, yeah. All right, so I can edit that or let it
Wee
roll. I think it's kind
wee.
of funny, right? Okay, so what we'll do then is, I mean, I think we're coming up to an hour more here anyway, Nikki. Um, we'll finish out the podcast, but is there anything you want to say before we sign off here? And is there a website that people can reach you if you want to
Yeah,
express yourself? Yeah? Okay.
just on my Facebook. It's called Nicky Jones. If you want to talk to me, I'm there. Anyone with bipolar can reach me. Anyone with
Nice.
any mental illnesses, anyone with any problems can talk to me. I'm not telling you I'm going to call you back straight away because sometimes, I'm a closed book.
Yeah. That's okay
But
too.
I do like helping people. I have to say, I do like helping people.
Nice. Perfect. That's
So, I'm here. I'm here, guys, if you need me. And if you want to talk to me again, you can.
certainly. All right, Nikki. Well, it's been a pleasure. I wanted to thank you for coming on my show, and I'm certain that we'll speak again yet. I do have you on Facebook now, so
All right.
I'm sure we can.
See you later. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Matt.
certainly. All right. Thank you, Nikki. You take care. Talk to you later.